who's the CEO and co-founder of House of Pops. So his expertise lies in managing and growing portfolios across diverse markets such as Turkey, Middle East, and Africa. And he holds a BSc in economics from Beirut's Lebanese American University. A big thanks to Mohammed Kashaf for the introduction. Welcome to the show, Mazen.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for hosting me. Looking forward for the discussion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Mohammed, I put in some very, nice words for you. Before we talk about House of Pops, I'm interested to know about your journey from Lebanon to Dubai and why Dubai, and what got you interested in this crazy world of startups.
Yeah, actually, it's an interesting story because I studied economics in
Nice.
Lebanon, and then at that time I applied to Unilever, and Unilever was recruiting or running this management trainee program targeting people from university. So I went through the selection board, and then I went to Saudi Arabia, and I spent there 6 years, and then I moved to Turkey with them as well. 3 years, I was managing the ice cream category, part of it in Turkey, and then I came back to Dubai with them, and I was responsible for ice cream in Middle East, North Africa. So it started, yes, by being loyal to one company, 13 years straight. Lots of learning, lots of things that I have learned and developed many skills there. And then by the end of it, I things came together, and I felt there is an opportunity to become an entrepreneur. I always had this in mind. I tried a lot of small things left and right. Nothing really clicked. But when the ice cream insight came, I thought, no, this is something I think decent and it has a very good chance of success. And we started it.
Interesting. So did the idea come in when you were working with Unilever, or is it something that it happened after you left Unilever? Because Unilever has a lot of ice cream brands, and it's a very interesting company. Because I did my master's from a B school here in the UK, and they have a lot of initiatives with UK universities about innovation and all that. But how was the experience there, and which led to House of Pops?
Yeah, directly to the insights, it started somewhere there and also from my own observation. But definitely, if I was not working on ice cream, I could not have come up with this idea because at that time, we're talking 2017, end of 2017, there was already this health and wellness trend that is moving across all different segments. But when you went to the ice cream category, when we used to visit the ice cream category, even our products, they were full of fat, high sugar. You could not find the offering there. But if you went to the chocolate, to the snacks, you could find the protein bars, the keto cookies. So I thought this is not a problem in the demand. There is a problem in the supply, or there is an opportunity in the supply. And this is where, together with my partner Marcella, we thought, okay, that could be a good opportunity. Why don't we develop a health and wellness ice cream brand and take this opportunity? And we were the first, and this is how it started.
Interesting. And when you start a House of Pops, people are usually scared of taking on bigger brands because you got Ben and Jerry's, you got some really big brands, and you would want to you like advise to start off in a market which is niche and then go from there. So how did you get to start House of Pops, and how did you get to decide uh to be how to be differentiative in such a competitive market?
Yeah, that's a very good question because it's very difficult to take on the big guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here, especially in UAE, there are two, three big players. So there is Unilever with Magnum and Walls and Cornetto. There is London Dairy. There is Igloo. There are really strong established brands, and even they are part, like for example, the Igloo and London Dairy, who are the market leaders, are part of a multi-billion-dollar company across all the different F&B segments called IFCO that has an extreme power in the market. But I strongly believe in brand building. And I think that it's not only by spending that you can win. If you don't have a differentiated brand, then yes, you need to have spend a lot of money. Take, for example, Noon.
Yeah.
Noon in this region went head to head with Amazon. All right.
Yeah.
At the core, it's not something different, but
Yeah.
they have huge amount of money. They painted Dubai yellow, and this is coming someone like me that I'm not from the Abbar family. If this is not something like I had, but what I had is an innovative idea and a route to market that could not be matched by those big players. So number one, the product was different. So I
Yeah.
was talking to a niche, a growing niche, who are looking after their health and wellness. So no one was offering that. And then second, and we can talk about that more in details, we have in the first 2 years developed an omni-channel approach that was very difficult and still is very difficult to be copied by those players. Unilever has millions, but they cannot open a cart in JBR or in Kite Beach. It doesn't fit in their model. They can open it for 2 weeks and put it as AMP promotion. But as a business model, this is not something they are used to do. So either you'll find ice cream brands that are strong in the retail, all right, in the opening shops, or you can find ice cream brands that are strong in the supermarkets.
Yeah.
But having a brand that goes from supermarkets to the retail, to the kiosks, to the events, to the hotels, that was also not available and still is a strong thing to crack. But I think those two helped me or gave me the confidence that no, I can make a dent to start. Now we are way beyond that point. But originally, this is what gave me the confidence.
Interesting. And why do you think, some of the bigger brands, they're not going, omni-channel, especially when it comes to, popping up, these smaller retail stores across different markets? Why are they, focusing only on one niche supermarket per se?
I don't know. I'm so happy they are not doing that. But I think it's a very complicated business. And the bigger you are, the more you will focus on the multi-million-dollar opportunity. All right. Like, so there are two elements of it. There are some big opportunity or small opportunities that could grow into big opportunities, but initially those big players would just avoid it because it does not make sense to them. And then second, there is a historical way of doing business that in order to change it, you need either a new leader who would come and you say, you know what, we are going to do things differently, or you would need, a different way of thinking. But it is not that easy to do. So yeah.
Correct. And especially how did you get to decide your ICP? Because I'm talking about your initial day, like go back to 2017, and how do you convince people not to buy like a Magnum but use House of Pops? So yeah.
Yeah, actually, it was even more difficult than this. Not only, so when we started, Magnum was selling at 8 dirhams. So not only we wanted people to convince people not to buy Magnum or London Dairy at 8 or Häagen-Dazs at 9 dirhams,
Yeah.
but we wanted to convince them to buy House of Tops at 20 dirhams, which is 2.5 times almost
Wow.
their price. But again, we go back to the product. But on top of that, what we really crafted well is the branding, because the way we presented the brands is aligned with the price that we are putting and with the uniqueness of the product. And maybe I can talk a bit why 20 dirhams. So if you take any chocolate ice cream in the market, all right, the premium one, you will find at least 30 ingredients. You will find 9 numbers at least. You will find words that you would struggle to pronounce, and I'm sure you would not understand. And it's horrible when you consume something you don't understand, like ethyl vanillin. Things like, even when I try to remember them, I cannot remember. Move to our chocolate. In our House of Pops chocolate, you have organic coconut milk and cream. You have organic fibers. You have organic agave. And you have cocoa powder, pure cocoa powder, 100% Valrhona, the most premium. 5 ingredients. A 5-year-old kid would understand what's in there. His mom would understand. She will feel more comfortable giving him this ice cream. There is no more compromise. This compromise, okay, no, I want to give my kid an ice cream, but ice cream are not healthy, so maybe I'll give him a fruit. There's no more compromise. Now he can enjoy an ice cream and it can be delicious and it's full of nutrients. Our ice cream, our fruit percentage in our ice cream reach 80% in strawberry. In mango, we have 56%. Take another mango sorbet, you will find there's 20% mango and natural mango flavors. So the ingredients are extremely good. And also, we are so keen on the sustainability. We are the only ice cream that doesn't use plastic in its packaging. And we can talk more about sustainability, several other initiatives. So those combined rationalize a price of 20 dirham or 2.5 times at that time the leader pricing, because people care to give something good for their kid, and it works. So and how did we convince them? Through talking a lot about the product. It was a very much of functional communication. This is the brand. Those are the reasons to believe, the RTBs. In all our kiosks, you will find 100% natural, plant-based, rich in fibers. All right. So wherever you go, you will find those three claims, and this is where I think we got an edge, where the others are not able to do that.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. And I follow an investor called Ramin Seth. He's Indian American, but he said like he's bearish on Europe and Russia and China, but he's long on India, US, and Dubai. And I've been very intrigued about Dubai. If you look at Dubai and Riyadh, in the last couple of years, things have really been very interesting with the kind of golden visas and the attraction to talent. How's Dubai as an ecosystem? I know I talked with Mohammed on this, but as an immigrant, what do you feel is different for entrepreneurs over there?
Man, Dubai is a blessing for me. I'm Lebanese. I come from Lebanon. I feel more confident and secure here in Dubai than I feel in Lebanon. I never needed to know someone in Dubai to rent a location. We have 17 locations here. I never felt that, you know what, I wish I knew a local, or I wish I knew this chef or this head of whatever, this municipality, in order to help facilitate. It's all about what you are able to offer and if you can afford paying the rent. It's unbelievable. I mean, it should be like this, but because of my background, maybe coming from a country where you need to know people, otherwise you cannot progress. This is amazing. This is, for me, is something I'm extremely happy, and I'm blessed because I'm given a great opportunity. Even more, with Dubai Chambers, they have sponsored my House of Pops participation in the biggest private label exhibition in the world that happens in Amsterdam, or at least in Europe, TLMA. They told me, Mazen, right, you are manufacturing here, you are an active part of the ecosystem. We are going to rent a space for you. We are going to build the kiosk for you there. Just come and present your product. So this is unreal. I'm not local. I'm just someone who's doing business here, and they are supporting me. So this is really great. But this is from one part. From the other part, there are a lot of organization that helps you. Like here, Endeavor, also Muhammad is part of Endeavor, has been a great help for me, connecting me with people to give me advice, invaluable experience. And also, there is a lot of entrepreneurs. Starting a business is very easy. I have started with a capex not exceeding $15,000, $20,000. I had a factory and basic equipment. It's crazy. Like there is a lot of things that you can start at affordable price, and you can test your product or your thesis, your MVP, to make sure it works. And then, of course, you can scale. So, and all the interactions are fast. The digitization of the economy makes operating the business extremely easy. There's so many different parts of the ecosystem, from the government to the private institution to the effort of the government to promote the city. That is really a blessing for me. And then I think now there is a rising giant, Saudi Arabia, and we are eyeing to enter Saudi Arabia. We have already got our investment visa, the investment license there. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have our company ready, and they are moving also at a very fast rate. So there's a lot of excitement in the region, from Dubai to Riyadh and to the entire region.
Got it. So, super interesting. And you, before the call, we talked about how you reached around 8 figures in revenue, around 7 million. But when it comes to distribution, any lessons for for FMCG brands who would want to scale up? Because if you look at India, we focus too much on marketplaces. I was in an event yesterday, even here in the UK, you're 70% dependent on marketplaces. But what's been your lesson and what's been your advice to FMCG brands about distribution?
Distribution in terms of supermarket distribution or the overall brand across different channels?
Overall across all the channels.
Okay, so for me, again, it's all related to your resources and how you're starting. So I started on a shoestring. We never got any investment, even to date. It was all fully self-funded. So initially, we started doing events, all right, because that was a great way to expose the brand in the look and feel that you want to communicate. Because if you directly go into the supermarket, my friend, your product will be put between 200 different products, and you will never be able to shout or to sing your song or to do your dance or to do your show to communicate all the health elements. Or if you want to do that, it will be extremely expensive because you would need to pay for promoters and rent shelf space. So we started in a place where we can control the environment and we can have communicate this experience, which was the farmers market. And then from then, we moved to e-commerce. E-commerce is also something which is affordable, that you could do a good business there, especially if you are producing because you have enough margin. And from there, we started doing also catering. And then the different channels started rolling out. We opened one kiosk in Kite Beach, then the second year, 4, then 12. Now we are at 17. And then we spent 4 years building the brand outside the supermarket before we decided to enter into supermarkets. And we built a brand which has created a lot of talkability that Carrefour themselves called us and said, are you interested to be listed? And imagine the discussion, how it would be different between you going to a big retailer, tell him, please list my product, versus a retailer calling you. It can make a huge difference for you. But you need patience, you need to not to rush directly. I want to go in supermarkets. No one does any profits in the supermarket. We do, and we have a good business. And we did it in a way that's profitable and sustainable, and we can invest and also keep some profits for us. So I think choosing the channels is extremely important between direct to consumer, distribution agreement, so that you are exposed or the consumer is exposed to your brand in several touch points, but also you don't go into extremely expensive channels early on that can absorb all your budget and you cannot really be able to communicate.
Got it. And when it comes to production and manufacturing, is it something you outsource it to someone, or is everything in house, or you look at giving media and marketing to someone else, or how does it function at House of Pop?
No, we own the factory from day one. We started in a small one, 100 square meter factory for the first 3 years.
Nice.
And then in April 2022, 2 years ago, we moved to a much bigger place. Now we are in around 400, 500, around 600 square meters. So six times bigger than the previous facility. And we control the entire production, because one thing is that we commit to having allergen-free products. So even allergen do not enter into our facility. You will not find any producer in this world that don't use eggs or pistachio or dairy somewhere, not specifically for that product. So this is number one. Number two, we have a range of around 30, 40 different flavors that we don't use maybe in the same place, but in different channels. No, you will not be able to afford any MOQs, especially when you're starting for 40 flavors. You can have your top 5, 6, 7. But then we are able to produce flavors and produce 100 pieces. We can do a lot of customization. That gave us a lot of flexibility to customize our offering, our packaging, our flavor. And this is one of the tools that we use against the big players, that unless they would need to sell 500,000 pieces, they will not launch anything. They cannot do any customization on the packaging. We can print the name of your kid on his birthday over 40 pieces, and he can enjoy his own ice cream, which is great, which feels great for them and for us.
Yeah, it's super interesting, because I mean, you can personalize it, but a big company cannot, and that's why I think you've been pretty successful there.
Yeah, and imagine the excitement and the social media of taking pictures of this ice cream with your brand logo. We do a lot of corporate events. We print, let's say, a MasterCard or Visa logo on the stick, on the packaging. We brand our bikes with the corporate identity of any company. So all those things, and we can do it for 60 people, 70 people, 50 people, 3,000 people like Abu Dhabi municipality. This is not something that can be done by any of those big corporations because it takes a lot of micro managing and micro works that they are not built to deliver that.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Interesting. And especially, when it comes to hiring, how do you assess human potential? Um, and what's been your lessons since you've expanded and grown your company?
Yes, initially it was a big challenge because when you are not able to pay market rates or even higher than market rates, because why would someone leave, I don't know, Unilever to come join you? That makes no sense. At the same time, you want to get the best talents. So
Yeah.
initially, we tried to get a team that helps us move the first 1, 2 years. But then after the third year, I felt there is a big opportunity for the brand. And I always believe that unless you have a very strong team, you cannot do a lot alone. There is so much that you can do, but you cannot really do it all. So I went into an overdrive and have recruited the best people in the industry to join House of Pops because now we could afford it and we have stretched. It have taken a toll on our P&L, but this team that is now with us, like for example, we have a regional manager for Baskin Robbins who was managing Shankar, the entire Baskin Robbins, other than the shop's business. He joined us. Our marketing manager Lara comes from Nestle. Our head of operation used to come also from Unilever, working on ice cream for 17 years. Our factory manager from IFCO. Our franchise manager, Michel, used to work in one of the biggest franchise operations, Dip. So those people are able to deliver 10 times the revenues that we are currently generating. So currently, they are all underutilized, but I know in 1, 2 years, they are going to unleash their full potential. But those are the bets that we take once you are confident that you are having a big opportunity and you need the right people. And second, when you can afford it. Now, what are the learnings? I think by far fitting to the culture of the company has been the number one guidance for us. I believe that having the right attitude and having a disciplined, organized approach to doing business outweighs any skills, any intelligence, emotional or IQ. Because if it's very important for us to work as a team. And we had throughout those years people who come because you cannot always be 100% sure that do not fit. Maybe because they are too aggressive, maybe because they are too cocky, maybe because they think very high of themselves. But so when we feel this directly, it doesn't take time. We say, you know what, it's not working. And the team that we have here is extremely cohesive. They are all passionate. They go the extra mile, and it's working. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Drive the culture, and we have defined 6 standards of leadership. One of them, for example, is kindness. Where it's a bit unconventional to adopt something like this but this across the year, I used to be a very aggressive person in my corporate experience, but I learned that this doesn't really neither help the business nor the people working with you. I'm still not very kind, if you ask the team, but this is something that I aspire to have this kind of standards of leadership, not the aggressive, solid approach, more the kind team player approach.
Interesting. You said about kindness. How do you instill that, or make sure that the entire team knows about those values? Is it about repeating it again and again?
So the way we communicate this is that we define them as the senior management. We are 8 people. call ourselves the board of the company. We define them and we communicated them to the team. And we comment on performances using those standards of leadership. And we have 2 times a year reviews, mid-year review and year-end review. And it's very similar to Unilever, by the way. I know everything from Unilever. I said it as a disclaimer. So I brought all the good things from there. So there we look at the performance of the team from the what and the how. What is what you achieved, and how did you achieve them? All right, because you could be lucky, you could have achieved them by being, I don't know, not working ethically. But then we look at the how. Did you show standards? How did this person exhibit those standards of leadership? Do you have examples, or does his manager have examples on behaviors that show accountability and responsibility, growth mindset, thinking about the consumer and the customer first, building the talent and the team, being disciplined, and being kind? Where if, for example, let's say something is going wrong, would this person go and someone did a mistake, would this person go and copy the entire company and put him and give him a tough time just to prove a point? Or does he go and talk to him and then talk to his manager saying, I'm facing this issue? So those are things that we praise when we see, and we use those terminologies to comment on behaviors. And this is bit by bit, it becomes a culture and a way of communicating between each other.
Interesting. And you would have hired a lot of people, what are some of the signs of lack of performance, and how do you communicate, or, what actions have you taken in order to, speak to that person about their lack of performance?
Yeah, so we are now almost 100 people in the company. Half of the people work in the shops, and 25% in the head office, 25% in the factory. So whenever we see a performance issue, we call the person, and initially we'd have a conversation with him that, because the way I think we are very structured, we have invested a lot of tools, a lot of CRM, a lot of softwares that document the inputs, so that whenever we want to have a discussion, yes, there is the output, the sales, whatever the target, but we have also tools to monitor the inputs, the number of market visits, the leads generated, the deals created. So if we don't see neither an output result nor an input result, we call the person and we tell him, listen, we are seeing those kind of things, you need to shapen up, etc. And then if we don't see improvement, we start what we call PIP, all right, which is a plan for improvement, personal improvement plan, where we define for the coming 3 months targets, and very specific, like you need to do that much visits, you need to generate that much leads, you need to sell that much. At the end of the first month, we do a review. If he hits the target, then and he's changed completely, then we say, all right, you went through this program, it's fine, now back to normal. If not, he'll get a first written warning, second month, second written warning, third month, there will be termination. So we don't lose a lot of time with people who are not performing. We give them all the tools, the training, but if they don't want to, and especially on the input, if we don't, because this is something they control, we are very sensitive on the inputs. If maybe, sales might be a bit difficult, but if you don't put the efforts, then there is no place for you here. And this is how we deal with that.
Got it. Yeah, no, absolutely. When it comes to teams building and scaling, I've seen once you reach like the 50 or the 100 employee mark, that's where the culture starts going away. And I've been part of a big unicorn, and we were adding like 20 or 30 people a day. So how do you ensure that, after the 50 employees, how do you maintain that sort of culture?
Yeah, by just being extremely sensitive at anything that goes against it. The moment we see someone trying to do some politics, some emails, etc., I directly call him and tell him, listen, man, I have spent 5 years trying to develop this culture, and this is a place where people enjoy working. I really don't care if you want to make a point or whatever the target is, but anything that touches this culture, I don't allow it. And usually people either they adapt quickly, or they leave. So it's not that hard. So I think I am very happy that we become like a natural selection process. People that don't fit, they feel this is not. Some people joined and they are very aggressive because they are hungry to win, and in this aggressiveness it damages the culture, and then they feel okay, it's too soft, and we get critiques. Yeah, this is too soft, this is whatever. No, I don't think there is any issue with being too soft as long as we are growing, delivering our target, and everyone's enjoying coming to work. This is great. I love that, and I protect it, and it comes from the owner, from Marcella and myself. The more we make sure that we highlight those attitudes that are damaging, then everyone would just fall in line and continue.
Got it. And especially when it comes to leaders when they're looking to expand into new markets or they're looking to build a new project, when should they decide to kill a new project?
Yes, it got a bit. So the question, when should decide to kill a new project?
Yeah. Sorry. So, when should leaders look at killing a new project versus continue and keep testing? It could be a new market or new growth strategy.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, this is one of the most challenging questions that we ask ourselves whenever we start a new endeavor. That how long should we bleed? So it has to do with how strategic this move is. Yani, for example, if you're trying to enter Saudi, and then this is a big bet, and you must come in with the mindset that some things might be wrong or might go wrong. You need to do the exercise really well, the homework really well, but still you should be ready to bleed a bit now, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. The most important element for new startups is to keep in mind your cash and your resources, because you can only bleed as much as your cash allows you to bleed. So if you are funded, yeah, I mean, look at those tech companies. They can bleed for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. They are fully funded. So it depends on your resources. But generally, for me, I think you will, by assessing the problem, you would understand, is this something within your control to adjust? Then if yes, then you give it a bit of time because there's something to do. But if you're just waiting, hoping that the economy will change or something, then there's no point. There's no point. And also, we take calls even when we open new locations, because we do a lot of pop-ups, and we just took one big location. It's the most expensive one, but we were very confident it will work. It did not work. Then we shut it down. We said, okay, you know what? We are going to take this loss. Out of every 10, we lose on one. It was the biggest this time. It was very painful. But, things happen. So we decided to stop rather than keep trying, because the gap to bridge was not 20, 30%, because 20, 30% you can control. But if you want to sell 3, 4 times, it will be a waste of time. And you better go and focus on something else.
Interesting. And Mazen, you've been very successful, leading company over the past 6-7 years. But what's the future for House of Pops? Are you looking to expand, or would you want to exit out in the next couple of years? What are you looking for?
Yeah, exit is not on my mind. I'm so much into the business. I think we are building a very exciting brand. I think the foundation of House of Pops as a brand are there. So we are sitting on a big potential, and I want to really exploit this potential in the coming few years. As I mentioned, we have the team now, we have the organization, we have the system, we have the SOPs, we have everything in place that can get us the most out of the opportunities ahead of us. And what are the opportunities? Number one, there is developing the brand, and the brand development through additional formats. So we have been selling everything like the sticks. We now launched gelato in some of our shops. This has proved to bring a lot of opportunities. We are launching also bites. We are taking those into the supermarkets. So developing different formats under House of Pops and developing the brand through communication. We did not yet advertise strongly. There is a lot of opportunity from building a brand from that perspective. This is the first pillar, the brand. The second pillar would be the increasing the footprint, and that could be geographically through distribution into the supermarkets and the HoReCa, and also franchising. And the last pillar would be the private label, because we have additional resources in our factory and we use that capacity in order to develop third-party ice cream, not at the level of House of Pops, but any other request. So those are the three big pillars. And in terms of geography, the biggest focus for us currently is the GCC and mainly Saudi Arabia. And this is where we are going to open a new entity there, a new company.
Nice.
And we are having very high hopes. Meanwhile, we are doing seeding activities in Europe, where we have exported to Hungary, and it's doing well. We have a partner there. We are going to be in October in Sial in Paris, which is the biggest FMCG food exhibition conference in Europe, where we will be looking for distributors or potential franchisees, so that by the time we gather leads, we would have already saturated this market and will be ready for talking about potential opportunities in Europe and in the US.
Got it. Got it. I think it sounds super interesting. I think the ice cream. I mean, I love ice cream, and that's my biggest. I mean, when it comes to sweet tooth, I think ice cream is my passion. But I think when it comes to Europe, especially be it Italy or those sort of places, I think ice cream is you think about ice cream, having during hot summer. So yeah, so really excited about your journey. And I quickly want to do the top three. What's your favorite business book?
Favorite business book. So I owe a lot to the book From Zero to One that I read when I started the business. A lot of insights came from that, so I would mention it in this instance.
Got it. We'll put that in show notes. And if you can go back in time when you started House of Pops, what is the one thing you would have focused on or done anything differently?
I would have tried to enter in Saudi Arabia maybe 2 years ago. The earlier, the better. But that was one thing. And this is interesting because a lot of people ask me, what are the big mistakes that you have done? What are the learnings that you had? On average, I don't think I have done as many mistakes in House of Pops as a regular entrepreneur would do, because I have done a lot of mistakes in Unilever on ice cream. So I can tell you so many things that went wrong. But I started the business when I was 35. Yeah. I have plenty of mistakes and learning that happened in my previous thing. So all the learnings, and I brought them into House of Pops. So that's why I was lucky to start something where I have previously worked for 8 years on that subject in a separate company.
Mm-hmm. Super interesting. And what's your favorite online tool? For example, Gmail, Slack, Zoom.
The best tool that we are so excited is HubSpot.
Yeah,
this is the CRM, and this is where we look at how's the performance, the visits, the discussions, monitoring everything. There is so much automation that it really saves 20 to 30% of the time of everyone, and we focus on where we can add value. So HubSpot is a personal favorite for me.
Got it. We'll put that in show notes. Mazen, what is the best way people can reach out to you and know more about House of Pops?
So you can follow our Instagram pages, which is the handle would be houseofpops.ae. And on LinkedIn, you can follow me, Mazen Kanaan. And yeah, you can reach me also on the email info@houseofpops.ae or mazen@houseofpops.ae for my personal email. So I'll be looking forward for any discussion, potential opportunities. Let's connect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll put that in the show notes. Mazen, thank you so much for taking your time and speaking to us. I really enjoyed my conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me.